Let's look at the rest of the Utah Jazz players. Keyonte George, Isaiah Collier, Kyle Filipowski, Walker Kessler. All the under 25s are here. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and it's time for everybody to reach in and draw a pickled egg. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox, no console needed. Head to amazon.com/firetv locked on to learn more. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms, so double bang and thumb and comment, and check out lockedondaily.com as well. Newsletters, they're free. Sign up over there, and we've got some gift cards to give away before the end of April, so get in and sign up. Earlier, again, I'm not really sure when I'm releasing this. Might have been yesterday, might have been earlier today. I did a show on the Jazz veterans, the 25 and overs. And if you want to have a look at some basic Jazz info from the season, I've got that at the start of that show. So contracts expiring, their record, their draft picks, it's all at the start of that show. We're going to just bang straight in here and talk about the Jazz. Again, I am going to celebrate Kenneth Kwanda Day because I don't really know what day this is coming out. But that's okay. We're here to talk Jazz. We're here to look into these this annoying franchise, this annoying team, this annoying group of front office executives, which did 100% exactly the right thing. You might say that it's, I guess, anti-competitive, and I get that. But when the rules are set up a certain way, you want to make your team the best they can be. This is how you do it. And we will see what happens at the draft lottery. We'll see where it all goes. But there are plenty of players in this team who will have no future with this team. There are plenty of players in this team who will move into smaller roles or different roles. And this team is very far from complete. Let's start by taking a look at Walker Kessler. One of the more frustrating guys, I guess. We know that he was heavily viewed in year two, where people were going way too high on him, and thankfully I was out on that. I was no interest in where people were looking at him, and that worked out pretty well. This season, I was a little bit more back in to grabbing Walker Kessler, and outside of some frustrations towards the end of the season, and there were some early ones as well, I think also people need to settle down at some point in terms of how you view who Kessler is as a player. Because he's fine, but like he's not a superstar. He's not any sort of level of star player like that. But I thought overall he was like fine. He was the 98th ranked player in Durant. He was 59th in points leagues, averaging 36. He had only 14 usage. He played 30 minutes a night, played 58 games. Will he ever be a guy that plays more than 30 minutes a night? Yeah, I could see it for a couple of years. Where will we draft him next season? Well, nearly everything about viewing Kessler is going to be wrapped in the shroud of what the hell is the direction of this team. It was relatively obvious heading into this season what they would do. I don't know if that will remain obvious this offseason, but that'll dictate a lot of this. There's no one on the roster currently who's going to take over from Kessler, and he'll head into year 4 now and should be able to step into something a little bit larger. He still blocked 2.5 shots. He had 66% shooting. He averaged 11 and 12. He shot a putrid 17% from 3, but we also know what happened at the end of the season, where they were trying to lose games. I said, let's expand your game. Let's see what happens. He won't shoot that often, or that badly most times. Like the veteran show, the delta drip percentile number is incorrect on these graphics. It will be fine for the other teams moving forward. It's just incorrect here. So you see Darko, he's at 83rd percentile in terms of improvement. His delta, drip delta is 90th percentile. So big improvements. One of the better improvers of in the entire league was Walker Kessler, which I wasn't really sure that would be the case. Low passing guy, we know that. He doesn't play on ball. He doesn't have a big offensive load, and that's really never going to change. I am a little bit, I don't know if annoyed is the right word, but 55th percentile in contesting shots at the rim. And some of that is because he's staying on the court more, and that is a common thing. And that's something I wanted to highlight, is he still blocked 2.4 shots. He played 30 minutes a night. But as you get older, as you play more minutes, as you become more important, your contests drop. Your blocks drop almost every time. Unless you're someone like Wemby, and I don't think it'll be a problem for him, because look at the size of him. He just puts his hand up. He doesn't even need to be in position. He doesn't need to stay out of foul trouble for Wembanyama most of the time. Kessler's very different. He's a really good rim protector, but there are going to be times to stay on the court more. He needs to contest fewer shots, meaning blocks will never hit 3 a game, would be my guess. He was a little bit better after the deadline, the 73rd ranked player. And we know that there was just a lot of nonsense going on with this team. What does he top out as a fantasy player? He's only, how old is he? He's 24? So we're not quite peak, but we're getting close. I would say that peak is 50-ish. And by that I say, like, could he be 40th or could he be 60th? Sure. And if you want to use like traditional 9-cat numbers, he'll look way better. They'll be wrong, but he'll look way better. He'll look like the 20th best player on totals if he plays 75 games. Which, of course, again, is crazy. He's not that good. But we know what we're getting, and I'm not really sure we ever get any expansion of a lot of this stuff from Walker Kessler as we move forward. And that's okay as well. Keonte George is a tricky one. He was someone that I did like grabbing late in drafts because rookie point guards suck, and he was a second-year point guard, and I thought they'll give him the opportunity. And they started that way. They did give him the opportunity to come in and be the starting point guard. They played him pretty solid minutes. But, did he improve? Was he good? Well, good is a relative term, isn't it? Because the advanced stats would say, I'm not really sure about that. Although there is a large discrepancy in the way that Drip and the way that Darko measures Keyonte George. We'll talk about that in a sec. George averaged 17 points a game, 5.5 assists, but absolutely invisible defensive numbers. He shot under 40% from the field. He was 82 from the line, 34 from 3. He hit 2.6 threes. He's only 21. He had 24 usage. He played 67 games. He was 116th in Durant, and he was slightly worse after the trade deadline. But most importantly, he lost his starting job. He lost it to Isaiah Collier. Now, he lost it, but just as easily as losing it, he could regain it at some point. But I didn't like Keonte George as a prospect coming out of college. I thought, this is a really rough efficiency player who I'm not sure is a point guard. And then all the positivity from him from Summer League and Jazz Camp as a rookie was like, okay, maybe he's better than this. And then he flashed some things. I went, okay, the shot's still got to come around and we hope there's improvement, but he looks better. And then last season, he didn't. He looked worse. So he's 86th percentile in DPM Delta, but for Drip Delta, 6th percentile. That's he dropped off a lot. His offensive load, 90th percentile. Pass and creation, 94th. Time on ball, 96th percentile. But generates no deflections at all. 8th percentile. And he had the ball in his hands a lot. And it didn't lead to good outcomes. So George is a player that does need volume. He's going to need to be in a role where he plays 34 minutes as the starter, with 25 plus usage, getting 7 or 8 assists, because we know assists are really tough to come by. And the presence of Collier and the potential of drafting a guard in the top 5 of this upcoming draft makes me pretty skeptical of where Keonte sits moving forward. I've still gone back and forth a lot on him throughout his 2-year career. He's had some moments of solidness, some moments of badness. But losing his job this season, taking steps back across some advanced metrics, being so high up of being someone who's running an offense and still not generating something great with the consistent shooting problems, I have some significant concerns about where we go with Keonte. What sort of player, best case, can he turn into, I guess? And that's where we run into a problem. Now, part of the reason he was able to improve so much in Darko and be one of the best 86th percentile improvement is because he was so bad last season. He was rated horribly. And he did improve as this season went on. And that's important. He was able to take steps forward this year. But the worry you've got to continue to have, right, is just where are we with him? What is he able to do as is he ever a starter caliber player? This is the big year 3. Can he take back over from Collier? Could they play together if Clarkson or Sexton is gone? I'm not going to write him off yet, and he still probably will be a redraft late round target for me. But I think any hopes of a top 50 run at any point in the next 3 to 4 years are probably over. He is only 21. So that's important. He will turn 22 towards the end of next season. So he's not super old. But it was, I thought, while an improvement from a rookie year, I think it was a step back in terms of where he sat on this team and what your overall feeling of a ceiling should be. That's how I view that. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Do you ever check in on your bank account and wonder, where did all the money go? You're dining out, online shopping, you've got entertainment, subscriptions, all that sort of stuff. It's easy to lose track of all of your money. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. But it's not just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, all of your investments, and all of your spending in one place. Instead of just managing your money, you can now start to build wealth. It's got the all-in-one convenience of all of those apps in the one spot. So instead of having to open every single individual bank or investment app, it's all just tracked in Monarch Money for you, which helps you create budgets, helps you plan what you need to do. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for half off for your first year. Okay, let's get into a few more of these Utah Jazz players. That's Kessler and George. So it's year 4 coming up for Kessler. It's year 3 coming up for Keonte George. Let's talk about a rookie, a guy that had some impact this season, and that is second round draft pick Kyle Filipowski. Now, I did ask for permission from Kyle's girlfriend to feature him on this show and didn't hear back, so we're just going to go ahead and do it anyway. Filipowski, I thought was a shot, honestly, to be a lottery pick in this draft, because that's, the draft was bad, but also I think he was good. And there were definitely reasons. Part of the reason he did slide, I'm certain of this, is because of some of the familial stuff. He was able to really crank it up post-trade deadline, where he was the 109th ranked player in category leagues. For the season, he was 202nd. He averaged just 21 fantasy points. He's 21 as a rookie. He had just 19 usage. He played 21 minutes a game over the course of the season. 10-6 with a 3 a game. He had 0.7 steals and 0.3 blocks, which are bad. 50% shooting and 35% from 3. So I guess the question you look at and go, what are you actually excited about when you look at that profile? What's good there? Well, in college, he was a big steals guy and a good blocks guy. A decent shooter and a decent passer. And I think most of those things, outside of some of the defensive stuff, I think showed up. Now, he is undersized. He's got a negative wingspan. Again, the drip delta is a wrong figure, but that is a high number because Kyle Filipowski's Darko delta is 99th percentile. Kyle Filipowski's drip delta is 96th percentile, so one of the biggest improvers in the entire league over the course of the season. He wasn't doing it through gigantic offensive load, but as a center, being 52nd percentile and 59th percentile in passing creation should definitely set some things off. Go, oh, well, that's interesting. Scroll down the bottom, 90th percentile in contesting at the rim. Now that will cut. Now, obviously, he doesn't generate any blocks, so he's contesting shots and got no idea what he's doing, right? But I think that block number will rise. The contest will come down, but it's encouraging. 46th percentile deflections. He's a center. These are all incredibly encouraging numbers. Now, there's a lot to chuck out with the Jazz. Is he going to be able to play 21 minutes a night or play 30 minutes a night anywhere moving forward? There is Kessler. There is Taylor Hendricks. There is maybe Cooper Flagg. Where the hell does he fit? But they can wheel and deal and trade guys. What if someone wants Kessler and gets 3 first-rounders for him? And then you start him next to Flagg? Possible. Not crazy. There is enough little things there why pre-draft evaluation, college numbers, and then some of these advanced things that we saw in season that should make you go, huh. This is a player, whether it's for Utah or another team, that we might see something. Now, those defensive numbers are bad, but a great example here with Filipowski. 0.7 steals and 0.3 blocks are terrible. Should you look at Kyle Filipowski and go, he doesn't get defensive stats? No, is the answer. You shouldn't say that. What you should say is, and these are small, contextual, and language contextual Massive linguist over here. They're small details, but they are important. What you can and should say when viewing Filipowski is he didn't get steals and blocks. Not he doesn't. And that might sound the same, but it's not. He didn't. In the 72 games that he played, he had 0.7 steals and 0.3 blocks. Bad. Does that preclude him from doing it moving forward when you've got not bad deflection numbers, really good contest numbers? Did it in college? I don't know. I'm not going to rule it out. I don't look at him as just a dreadful defensive stats guy. I think he can shoot okay. I think he could pass okay. He's got an unbelievably useful fantasy profile. Now, it's a lot of squinting to get it there. But one of the, I would say, success stories pretty clearly out of this draft was Filipowski. The path for him in Utah, again, despite them being bad, is incredibly cloudy. Markkanen, Hendricks, Kessler, they're all still there. Flag, whatever else they do in the draft, whatever pick they get. There's a lot of different ways that Collins. It required a lot of things to happen for Filipowski to get there. And he is 21 already. But there are enough positive indicators there that I would be, maybe not in a dynasty, probably wouldn't be doing it now because you're coming off the highs of big games at the end of the year. But if he gets sort of buried or the Jazz draft flag or whatever they do and his value drops, then I'll be, okay, let's move a little bit in there. Let's talk about their first round pick, the end of the first round, Isaiah Collier. Because honestly, to begin the season, the first 2 months, probably the worst player in the entire NBA. I liked him as a player. Like Filipowski, I thought that the Jazz did incredibly well to get these guys as late as they did. Collier had some bad shooting numbers, but he's one of the best guys at attacking the paint and being able to be a legitimately good passer with some okay defensive instincts. But he was horrendous. And then the Jazz just went, you're our starter now. I'm like, okay, that's a great way to lose games. But he was not bad. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he was good because he really was like a one category wonder, and that was assists. He ended up averaging 26 minutes a night in 71 games. He's not 21 yet. He had 19 usage. He was the 213th ranked player for the season, but post-deadline 157th. He averaged 9 and 6 in 26 minutes and 6 assists with 0.9 steals. Now, the badness of this is he can't hit free throws, and he didn't hit them in college. He can't hit threes, and he didn't hit them in college. 25% from three, 66% from the line. There are no positive indicators on his shooting. None. And that clearly is a worry. That's clearly a worry. Darko's Delta had him at 87th percentile. Drips had him at 87th percentile. 77th percentile. So big improvements because he was terrible. Look at that passing creation volume, 99th percentile. He made it the point of him being there to get others involved. He was also on ball basically the entirety of his time. You do not want him playing off ball, which limits him. Because if he's the guy that's always running things when he's on ball and he's not good at it, well, teams will want to replace that. And then how does he work in other roles? And I would say not particularly well. 34th percentile deflections. That's, when you pair that these steal numbers are okay, not great, but like with low deflections, you're a little worried there. But he improved a lot. He's not a usage guy, but he is a passing usage guy. One of the best at that. And you would think that he is just the favorite to be a 29, 30 minute a night starter next season, but a lot can change. So we liked it, but also don't get over your skis in overvaluing that run, because even in that run, he wasn't that good. He was fine. He got really good assists, which we know are harder to find, which weirdly in the fantasy playoffs, they're easy to find. They're actually everywhere in the fantasy playoffs getting assists. But he can't shoot. I don't know that he ever can shoot. I'm not sure he's ever going to be a scorer or any sort of volume player. Could he turn out like an Alfred Payton type? Maybe. There were encouraging signs. Absolutely, there were encouraging signs from Isaiah Collier. But that's not the whole story. Taylor Hendricks is a forgotten player. I was very high on him as a draft prospect. We didn't really get to see much of him as a rookie until the second half of the season, where I thought that he started to show up some good stuff. And then he won the starting job heading into this season. and he lasted 3 games. He broke his leg, and he was out for the year. So these numbers don't really mean much. Now, they're obviously horrendous. He shot 22% from the field and 25% from 3. But the appeal, and again, this is limited stuff. The appeal is he blocked 1.3 shots with 1.7 steals in 25 minutes a night in 3 games. The advanced stuff for him is going to be really hard to sort of figure out. That the delta drip for him is 59th percentile. Darko's at 72nd. Yeah, he improved, but there's just not enough numbers here. Time on ball very low. Incredibly high deflections. Incredibly high rim contest, which makes sense given the sort of player he is. But we just don't know what to make of it. He, to me, is still a much better prospect than Kyle Filipowski. I would say that, I don't know if he's a better prospect than Walker Kessler. I think his ceiling's higher. So I think there is some offensive stuff he can do. But this is a massive step back. It's a massive, not step back, setback. Because it's a whole year of development lost due to a broken leg. It shouldn't impact him moving forward, but it is a worry. 12 usage, horrendous shooting, they are all concerns. But the defense makes you go, okay. We will look at this really closely next season, depending on what they do. And again, there's the Collins, there's the Markkanens, there's the Kessler, the Filipowski, there's the draft pick. All these guys are still around. Ideally, I think they want Hendricks, Kessler. Flag, obviously. I think Hendricks is malleable. I think he's got an ability to move around. But I also don't think we're going to get a huge amount from him moving forward. But he improved. The absolute gigantic green flag on those defensive numbers for Taylor Hendricks. And that should make you a little bit interested. We've got some absolutely disgracefully bad players coming up. Don't worry about that. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by Wayfair. With spring, it means it's home project season. You might be refreshing a room, or might be doing a full renovation inside or outside. Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things home improvement. Small updates like stylish cabinet hardware or major upgrades like new vanities, sinks or outdoor lighting. Wayfair has quality products for every budget. It's so easy to go in and update just little things or big things with Wayfair. Checking it out all online is so simple, and the prices, you're going to love them as well. And their free and fast shipping makes it so easy. No hauling heavy items from the store. And they've got great brands like GE and Moen at great prices. Wayfair makes home improvement easy. Get started now at wayfair.com. That is WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style and every home. All right, so I would say that's probably the majority of the real prospects on this team. And I say that deliberately because Cody Williams was terrible. Now, there were a lot of split opinions on Cody heading into the draft. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I was right because it's 1 year in. But I was nowhere close. I think I had him 20th, 21st. I just didn't see it. I didn't see any ability to generate usage. I didn't see any ability to do anything defensively. I didn't see any ability to do things shooting-wise. I thought he was terrible. And so far, he has matched my expectations. Will it mean that Cody Williams will be able to become, or will he ever become good? I don't know. Will he stay bad? Maybe. But it's one of the things that is a bias we deal with. I didn't like Cody Williams. He was somehow worse than what I thought he was. So therefore, I'm like, how am I possibly envisaging a giant turnaround? I'm not. Williams, post-deadline, on a tanking team, was the 406th ranked player. He averaged 21 minutes a night. It's not like he was buried. 13 usage, my guy. 4 points. 26 from 3. Didn't even generate steals. Doesn't do assists. What does this man do here? Nothing is the answer at this point. He was I don't know. He was bad. I think it's as simple as just he was bad. His Darko Delta, 10th percentile. Drip, 13th percentile. He's a rookie. He got worse as the season went on. Worse. So the models usually put rookies pretty low. And they saw him and they went, oh no, absolutely not. Bro, you are getting worse. And that is a terrible sign. That is just, it's not. Look, 7th percentile offensive load. He doesn't pass. He's not on ball. He doesn't deflect. He doesn't protect the rim. Again, what does he do? He's turned 20. He's not hyper young. He is 20. He's 20 and a half. He averaged, 10 fantasy points in 21 minutes? Now, I expect a big improvement next season. But big improvement is from NBA's worst player to maybe a 12th man. We can talk distressed assets in dynasty leagues, and it doesn't get more distressed than a top 10 pick like this. And there will be the patina of, well, he was picked in the top 10. Well, he was a top 10 pick, and that will last for a while. It should not. There is also he is Jalen Williams' brother that will stick around. But it's giving Marcus Teague, honestly. And if you don't know who that is, there's a very good reason for that. That's Jeff Teague's brother, who was terrible. There's other options. Who are some other good, bad brothers who jumped in? Taylor Griffin, R.I.P. No, he didn't. Did he pass? I apologize if that's wrong. No, I was thinking of Aaron Gordon's brother. So R.I.P. to Aaron Gordon's brother. Taylor Griffin still with us. But yeah, like he was bad. Blake's brother. Cody, yeah, look, I don't really know what there is to hang your hat on. And the only thing you'd use to hang your hat on with Cody is he was a top 10 pick and his brother is Jalen Williams. And that, like, there's not one thing that I saw from Cody Williams this season where I'd go, oh yeah, I can see it. I'm out. I was out heading into the season. I'm more out now. If you are making deals in a dynasty league, I wouldn't think you'd need to give up much. He's got the height, the positional height, but he's skinny, he's weak. He doesn't generate shots. He doesn't take advantage of things. It could very much go the way of the Johnny Davis, where the Jalen Hood-Schifino, where his third-year rookie option just gets declined. It's possible. It probably won't. It's probably more likely to be fourth year, but if he is bad again next season, I would think that he is in real risk here because it was one of the worst rookie seasons you will see. Year 2 for Brice Sensabaugh, a man who had a lot of knee problems that caused a slide in the draft. I liked him as a player coming out of Ohio State. We didn't get to see huge amounts of it last season, and even this season, it took a while to get there. He's 22, he had 22 usage. He hit 2 threes a game and did it at 42%, and that is the thing. Because if it's not for scoring, this man doesn't do anything. But he can be an absolutely elite volume scorer. And I don't use that term super lightly. He is going to be bad in nearly every other area. That's true. Now, his drip delta was 94th percentile this year. 94th. He's 93rd in Darko. So both of those advanced metrics said, yeah, you took massive steps forward. And I agree with that. He was a super high usage guy in college. He wasn't that high. And he actually passed a little bit. So there were a few little things starting to improve. And look, time on ball, they used him more catch and shoot than on ball. And there are extra levels that he can get to, I think. A lot of it's going to be volume. A lot of it is going to be really sort of development. But year 3 coming up, he'll be 23. Can he jump that usage to 26? Can he play 25 minutes? I would love, and he's probably a little bit too slow for this, honestly. I'd love to see him play as like the 2 next to Collier and George. Their spot at the 3 is very strange. There's nobody there. Like, I know Markkanen's there, but he's not long for the team. But there's a little bit of something in Sensabaugh. The problem with Brice is, in order to get fantasy value, it just needs a lot of usage because there's not much else going on. He flashed a little bit more passing skill and a little bit more defensive stuff, but it's not very much. Next, we look at KJ Martin, who, yes, was on this team. He was a part of the Sixers, signed that contract so he could be traded. He was traded to the Pistons and then routed to the Jazz. And I wasn't sure he'd even play, honestly, in Utah, but he did. He started games. He is 24. He's 331st ranked player this season. He averaged 6 points with 3 rebounds, a half a block in 21 minutes. He used to be a really good shot blocker with high field goals. His field goals were high here. But towards the end of the season, he started to get larger opportunities and didn't really convert them. He's 4th percentile in Darko, so he dropped a lot. Now, his drip was 51st percentile, but yeah, rim contest 17%, bro. You need to be better than that. There was some hope for him when he was in Houston. Then he sort of disappeared in LA and in Philly. And overall, there's just too many players that are like him or play that same position in Utah. And he is non-guaranteed. And I would be pretty surprised if he's doing anything in the NBA as we move forward. Johnny Juzang showed a little flash towards the end of this season. he sort of does fit. If you're going to have a usage player like Keyonte coming off the bench or Collier starting, you're going to have some, if Lowry is still there, Juzang's ability to be a spot-up guy, there's something there. I thought that he took some steps forward. He hit 2 threes a game at 38%. He played 20 minutes a night in his 64 games. The rankings aren't particularly strong, and understandable, but he did take some steps forward. And actually, Drip loved him, the improvement, 92nd percentile. Darko's got to be 51st. But he's a low-usage player who didn't really do much in terms of passing or ball in hand, but still managed to get up quite a decent volume of shots. Juzang's a player that, like, we talk about these players that play this role. It's a Luke Kennedy, Sam Merrill, Max Strus, a lot of white guys there, AJ Green, Gary Trent, that sort of a role. Now, he's not the deflections guy that Trent is, but after I thought some disappointing years, and they did sign him to a contract, which is multiple non-guarantees, but it's like 3 or 4 years, there was enough there for me to go, I would rather prioritize him than Svi Mykhailiuk. And his play was very clearly better than Cody Williams' this season. The last name for us to talk about is Jaden the Package Springer. Another guy who came across during the season, a high-level defensive player who has just never really had many opportunities to show what he can do. And part of that's on him because, at some point, you've just got to make yourself get in there. He averaged 0.6 steals, but in the past, he's been a good shot blocker. That just deserted him completely this season. He had 0% three-pointers, just couldn't hit threes. Why is that usage coming up at 0? That seems wrong, but that's definitely wrong. The usage was 14% for the season, but the bulk defensive stats weren't always there. But in saying that, he averaged almost a steal, not quite a steal a minute, but he averaged 0.6 steals in 8 minutes. Let's just turn that to 24 minutes, and that's 1.8 steals in 24 minutes. Turn that to 36 minutes, and then you're talking about a 2.5 steals player. That's what he is. He still cannot shoot. His passing as a point guard is not really there. 98th percentile deflections, unbelievable, but just eschewed the rim protection entirely. But this is what he is. He is a defensive player. He showed some of those things. He still is somehow only 22 years of age. He's 23. He's 22 and a half, so he's still young. But overall, there's just he could work to become like a way worse Chris Dunn. That's maybe what he could get to. But we are still a long way away from that. And that is the other members of the Jazz. Sorry for some of the choppiness there. It usually happens when I'm doing my first one of these shows. That something just seems to go wrong. So I do apologize for that and some of that drip delta missing off those things, but it'll be back for the Washington Wizards, which we do as the next team. In the meantime, hit the thumb on the video. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.